Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
The 10 questions you should know in Filipino. Anong pangalan mo? What's your name? The first question that you should know is, Anong pangalan mo? In English, what's your name? So, how do you answer this question? For instance, my name is Erica. So in Filipino, I would say, Ako si Erica. Or, I'm Erica. This is a very useful question when you want to get to know other people. So you better remember this. Anong pangalan mo? In English, what's your name? Kamusta? How are you? The next question that you should know is, Kamusta? Or in English, how are you? How do you respond to this question? You say, Mabuti naman. Ikaw? Or, I'm good. You? So this is also again another very common question that you can ask your friends just because you're friends. So you have to know how they are. Parang lagi na lang magka-sarcastic yung Actually, the longer version is kamusta ka? But no one really says that now. So you can just simply say kamusta. Yeah, or even shorter, you can just say musta. So it's very nice actually to say this to people, especially if you haven't seen them for a long time. Taga saan ka? Where are you from? So the next question that you should know is, taga saan ka? Or in English, where are you from? So how do you answer this question? If you are, say, from Manila, then you reply, taga Maynila ako. Or, I'm from Manila. So say you are from Lisbon, then you'd say, taga Lisbon ako. Or, I'm from Lisbon. So this is also a very important question to know, especially if you're just meeting someone for the first time. So, I don't know, just people are very interested in where you go home. Or where you're from, not really where you go home. Kailan ang iyong kaarawan? When is your birthday? Kailan ang iyong kaarawan? In English, when is your birthday? So if you want to really respond to this question in fluent Filipino, then you would say, sa ika-25 ng Disyembre ang aking kaarawan. Or in English, this translates to my birthday is on December 25th. If it's December 25, then obviously your birthday is on Christmas. But if say August 9, then you would say in Filipino, ika-siyam ng Agosto. But no one really says that, so you just say August 9. Just say August 9. Ang kaarawan ko ay sa August 9. Or my birthday is on August 9. Saan ka nakatira? Where do you live? Saan ka nakatira? Or, where do you live? So, for example, you live in Makati City, which is the business district. So, you will say, nakatira ako sa Makati. Or, I live in Makati. Saan ka nagtatrabaho? Where do you work? The next question that you should know is, saan ka nagtatrabaho? Or, where do you work? So, for example, you want to say that you work at Intel. Or sometimes there's call center in Intel, right? So there are many call centers in the Philippines and many younger Filipinos work in call centers. And so you can say, nagtatrabaho ako sa Intel. Or I work at Intel. And then usually the follow-up question would be, what do you do at Intel? So then you would say, I'm a call center agent, or I'm a, IT person, or I'm the CEO of Intel. Oh, wow. Ano ang phone number mo? What's your phone number? The next question that you should know is, ano ang phone number mo? Oh, we're getting really in closer territories. So, for example, you really want to be friends with this person or more than friends. Then you ask, ano ang phone number mo? Or, what's your phone number? For instance, you want to give your phone number to this person, whoever this person is. Ang number ko ay, and then your number. For instance, 0123456789. In English, my number is this. So usually people would still ask for your phone number. But usually they would say, what's your cell phone number? Saan ka nag-aral ng Filipino? Where did you learn Filipino? Saan ka nag-aral ng Filipino? In English, where did you learn Filipino? So this is very interesting and very important to be able to respond to this. When the person that you're talking to is really like amazed with your Filipino. So, you better reply with, nag-aral ako gamit ang filipinopod101.com or I studied with filipinopod101.com. So, where did you learn Filipino? Mahilig ka ba sa pagkaing Pilipino? Do you like Filipino food? Mahilig ka ba sa pagkaing Pilipino? Or, do you like Filipino food? For instance, you really do. So, how do you respond to this question? You say, oo, lalong-lalo na ang adobo, if adobo is your favorite. Or it can be kare-kare. Then you would say, oo, lalong-lalo na ang kare-kare. In English, yes, especially kare-kare or adobo. This is very important question to know because you usually get asked this question when you say go to gatherings or parties or just like when you're staying in a Filipino friend's house, right? Their moms would usually ask you, oh, do you like Filipino food? What do you want to eat? And then they will most probably give you that food, serve you that food. They're very hospitable. Saan ang magandang pasyalan sa Pilipinas? Where is it nice to go to in the Philippines? The next question that you should know is, saan ang magandang pasyalan sa Pilipinas? In English, where is it nice to go to in the Philippines? If I'm going to give an advice now, I would say Palawan, definitely. And you would see, just type Palawan in Google, you would see really beautiful pictures. But if you want to be really specific, where exactly in Palawan, then either El Nido or Coron. So, for instance, I would say sa Coron, Palawan. Or in English, in Coron, Palawan. It's very nice actually, very cheap. And very beautiful place. So, I haven't been to Coron, I've been to El Nido. I've been to El Nido, not Coron, not yet.
Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
20 travel phrases you should know. So, tara na. Biyahe tayo. Pwede ba akong makakuha ng mapa? Could I get a map? Pwede ba akong makakuha ng mapa? Pwede ba akong makakuha ng mapa? Could I get a map? If you don't wanna use up your roaming on your Google Maps, there's always maps in the tourist information guide. Or actually, in bookstores, you could also buy maps if you need them. Nagsasalita ka ba ng Ingles? Do you speak English? Here's another phrase you might want to learn. Nagsasalita ka ba ng Ingles? Nagsasalita ka ba ng Ingles? Do you speak English? Well, perhaps the answer to this is maybe perhaps yes. I don't know. But let's not assume. Let's not assume that everyone in the Philippines speak English, but most of us do. May bus bang galing airport papuntang siyûdad? Is there a bus from the airport to the city? May bus bang galing airport papuntang siyûdad? May bus bang galing airport papuntang siyûdad? Is there a bus from the airport to the city? Well, if you are flying from Manila, the airport is actually in the middle of the city, so you don't really need a bus. I wouldn't really know because my family is very nice enough to always get me from the airport if I need to be coming from the airport in the Philippines. Thank you, family! Libre ba ang Wi-Fi? Is the Wi-Fi free? In this day and age, I think this one is very important. Libre ba ang Wi-Fi? Libre ba ang Wi-Fi? This means, is the Wi-Fi free? Yeah, so like if you have your iPhone, iMac, I love you with you, then you might want to get the Wi-Fi. Meron ba kayong bakanteng kwarto ngayong gabi? Do you have any vacancies tonight? Okay, here's another phrase you might want to know when you're asking at a hotel. Meron ba kayong bakanteng kwarto ngayong gabi? Meron ba kayong bakanteng kwarto ngayong gabi? This means, do you have any vacancies for tonight? So yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't reserve beforehand at the hotel, but in case you didn't, this is a good phrase you might want to remember. Pwede bang lumipat sa ibang kwarto? Could I move to a different room? Pwede bang lumipat sa ibang kwarto? Pwede bang lumipat sa ibang kwarto? Could I move to a different room? You never know. Maybe you have noisy neighbors, or you just feel like there's someone else in the room. Let's hope not. Then you might want to ask this question. May reservation ako. I have a reservation. May reservation ako. May reservation ako. I have a reservation. Yeah, it's very simple. Easy to remember. May, it sounds like the 5th month of the year. Reservation. Ako. Me. May reservation ako. Pwedeng makahingi ng menu? Could we have the menu, please? Okay, so here's another one that I think you will find useful and would use a lot, since food is very cheap in the Philippines and you want to try a lot of restaurants. Pwedeng makahingi ng menu? Pwedeng makahingi ng menu? Could we have the menu, please? There you go. Eat to your heart's content. Try out all the restaurants you want and just don't go to McDonald's every time. Pwede bang makuha ang bill? Could I have the check? Pwede bang makuha ang bill? Pwede bang makuha ang bill? Could I have the check? So usually there's a gesture in the Philippines for the check, and it's like this. It's like a rectangle. So when you do this to the waiter or waitress, whatever, then that means you want the bill. But you could also remember this word. You could also try and remember this phrase. Pwede bang makuha ang bill? Allergic ako sa mani. I'm allergic to peanuts. Okay, here's one very important travel phrase in case you're someone like this. Allergic ako sa mani. Allergic ako sa mani. I'm allergic to peanuts. Allergic is also the same in Filipino. So you just need to find the Filipino word for the thing that you're allergic to. Like in this case, peanuts is mani. Like maybe chicken. Chicken is manok. Allergic ako sa manok. Shrimp, maybe shrimp. Allergic ako sa hipon. Anyway, if you're allergic to something and you want to find out what it is in Filipino, perhaps maybe you could just put it in the comments and we'll try to help you out. Tubig po. Water, please. Here's another travel phrase you should know. Tubig po. Water, please. So here, po doesn't actually mean please. It's a polite particle. You add it to the sentence to make it sound polite, because you want to be polite when asking for water, since it's like free. You need to be polite. Magkano ito? How much is this? Magkano ito? Magkano ito? This means, how much is this? So yeah, definitely travel also means you want to go shopping. So you might want to remember this phrase. How much is this? Magkano ito? So ito actually is this. So it has to be somewhere near you. Gusto ko ng 10 nito. I'd like 10 of these. Okay, so if you want not just one of something, you could try using this one. Gusto ko ng 10 nito. Gusto ko ng 10 nito. This means I'd like 10 of these. 10 means 10. So if you replace 10 with another number, then you could make any sentence you want. For example, you want, 50. 50 is 50. So gusto ko ng 50 nito. Or if you just want 3, you could say, gusto ko ng 3 nito. I don't know what these are. But if it's 10, maybe it's like some kind of souvenir, Pwede niyo ba akong bigyan ng discount? Could you give me a discount? Hey, another travel phrase you should know is, especially in the Philippines, and if you wanna have some bargain. Pwede niyo ba akong bigyan ng discount? Pwede niyo ba akong bigyan ng discount? Could you give me a discount? So, here's a tip when you're trying to bargain for something. You don't just ask this. You should have a price in mind that you would like to offer them back. So, it's more of like a negotiation, not like, oh, can you give me a discount? They'll probably ask you, so how much would you like to buy it for? So you have to be prepared for that and not just ask, give me a discount. It's like, you have to name your price as well. Tumatanggap ba kayo ng credit card? Do you take credit card? Here's another phrase that you might want to know when traveling. Tumatanggap ba kayo ng credit card? Tumatanggap ba kayo ng credit card? Do you take credit card? So yeah, like, of course, you just have a limited cash that you exchange. I mean, your currency for the local currency. So you might want to just spend the cash in the places that don't accept credit card, or else you might really need it somewhere that doesn't accept anything else but cash and you didn't have it. So yeah, you might want to ask this question a lot. Nasaan ang istasyon ng tren? Where's the train station? Nasaan ang istasyon ng tren? Nasaan ang istasyon ng tren? Where's the train station? There's not really much train stations in the Philippines, but there's just like a few of them, maybe 20, 30, and they're only just in Metro Manila. So, but bus stations are also not that common. It's basically, maybe we should like make a whole video discussing transportation in the Philippines, because it's very complicated actually. It's not just like, hey, there's trains and stations. It's more of like, you need to know which buses take which route and how much it costs beforehand, because anyway, you need to be a real veteran to survive Philippine public transportation. Excuse me, magkano po ang pamasahe? Excuse me, what's the fare? Here's another phrase that could be useful when you're in the Philippines. Excuse me, magkano ang pamasahe? Excuse me, magkano ang pamasahe? Excuse me, what's the fare? So, yeah, usually you might want to ask this if you don't know how much the fare is, because, I mean, like, not for the trains, you have to actually pay before going in the train, but like for buses or jeepneys or tricycles, usually there's like a sign, tiny sign, how much it costs to go from somewhere to somewhere, but like it's either very far away or you couldn't see it, so you just have to ask the driver how much the fare is. So yeah, we definitely need that whole lesson about Philippine public transportation. Pwede niyo po ba akong kunan ng litrato? Could you take a picture of me, please? Okay, here's another phrase you might want to learn when traveling. Pwede niyo po ba akong kunan ng litrato? Pwede niyo po ba akong kunan ng litrato? Could you take a picture of me, please? I don't know. If you want a group shot, then might as well ask like someone to take it for you. I bet they won't run with your camera if that's what you're thinking, because that's just rude. Yeah, can be useful. So that you can have your Instagram pic later on without the selfie stick. Just kidding. Ito ba ang tamang bus papuntang airport? Is this the right bus for the airport? Ito ba ang tamang bus papuntang airport? Ito ba ang tamang bus papuntang airport? Is this the right bus for the airport? So, yeah, I guess when you're returning back, you might wanna not get lost to get to the airport, but to be honest, I don't really think there's a direct bus to the airport. Although I only have experience in Manila, and I've always been lucky enough to have my family get me there. But I guess you'd like have to take a taxi. Meron ba kayong mairerekomenda? Do you have any recommendations? Meron ba kayong mairerekomenda? Meron ba kayong mairerekomenda? This means, do you have any recommendations? Yeah, like if you can't really choose from the menu, then you could ask the person, meron ba kayong mairerekomenda? Usually, they would point to the most expensive thing there, so... But yeah, usually the most expensive thing is also the nicest.
10 phrases you never want to hear. So let's begin. Nadagdagan ba ang timbang mo nitong nakaraan? Have you gained weight recently? The first phrase you won't ever want to hear is, nadagdagan ba ang timbang mo nitong nakaraan? In English, have you gained weight recently? I don't know. I also don't like hearing it, but I don't mind it. But I don't like hearing it. This is nicely put, actually. So for Filipinos, they would ask you directly, they would not ask you, they would comment on you. Oh, you look fatter, right? Or you look bigger. So in Filipino, you got a bit bigger or you got fatter, you became bigger. In Filipino is tumaba ka. But usually like that, like aunts, they see you, for example, you've been away for quite some time, you come back and then your aunts will be like, oh, tumaba ka. Right? Especially in the Philippines, you get lots of food every time you go to a restaurant. And there's another thing. Usually, you have your rice, right? And then you have your meat. And then you eat your rice with your meat. And then you realize, oh, I still have some more meat left. Then you'll get another serving of rice. And then you eat your rice. And then you eat your meat. And then you realize, I don't have any more meat, but I still have rice. And then, okay, I'll get another serving of meat. And then it's like, and it happens, you know. Mayroon kang puting buhok. You have gray hair. So the next phrase that you won't ever want to hear is mayroon kang puting buhok. Or in English, you have gray hair or white. When someone tells me I have gray hair, I immediately try to have it pulled. For me, for instance, I'm always like concerned. I just want my hair to be always like this really shiny black. And then, so we take care of it, right? Like you cover your hair also when because too much sun can make your hair, what can damage your hair, like make it a bit lighter, almost brown. But I want my hair always to be black, so I'm kind of really very like careful with it. Sinabi ko na sayo. I told you so. Sinabi ko na sayo. Or, I told you so. Who wants to hear this? No one, right? In any other language, no one to hear this, I think. Right? Because it just like drives your mistake into your face. Like, you did this. I told you so. You should have done this. And if you're Filipino, your immediate response would be, obvious ba? Or isn't it obvious? Just like, leave.
Like, ano nga yun?
Because Filipinos can be very sarcastic also. So they would just be like, yeah, it happened. So, nothing can be done. So, what's the point of saying, I told you so? Tanggal ka na sa trabaho. You're fired. Tanggal ka na sa trabaho. Or, you're fired. So, if you're at work, do your job properly. Because they're paying you. They might as well do it, right? Hindi ikaw ang problema. Ako. It is not you. It is me. The next phrase that you don't want to hear, especially if you're splitting up, is hindi ikaw ang problema. Ako, basya, ako. Charot. Which in English is, it's not you. It is me. Okay. It's you then. If you insist, go ahead. Salamat sa pagpapadala ng iyong resume. Ngunit, ang posisyon ay napuno na. Thank you for your resume. However, the position has been filled. The next phrase that no one ever wants to hear is actually not a phrase. It's actually 2 sentences. But still, you don't want to hear or you don't want to read, right? Is, salamat sa pagpapadala ng iyong resume. Ngunit, ang posisyon ay napuno na. Or, Thank you for your resume. However, the position has been filled.
Next.
But this is a nice thing actually to receive, especially if you're applying, right, for jobs, because you're not left just waiting. So at least you know, okay, this is not for me. I'm going to move on, look for another boyfriend or another girlfriend. Usually goes. Dapat tayong makipagkita sa ibang mga tao. We should see other people. The next phrase you hopefully won't hear is dapat tayong makipagkita sa ibang mga tao. Or, we should see other people. I don't know why it's so sad. It's all about rejection. So, hopefully you don't get to experience this. Kailangan natin mag-usap. We need to talk. So, the next phrase that you don't ever want to hear is kailangan natin mag-usap. Or, we need to talk. I think in any circumstance, this is not a nice phrase to hear, right? Whether it be your boyfriend, girlfriend, or your boss, then this is never a nice phrase to hear. So what do you do when someone tells you, we need to talk?
Magrosaryo ko.
Well, because we are Filipinos and we're religious, then we start praying at the rosary. Ang pangit mo. You're ugly. Next phrase that you definitely don't want to hear directed to you is ang pangit mo or you're ugly. I mean, who would say this? Is there anyone who will say this? Will anyone say this?
Super mean.
Are you a kid to say this?
Yeah.
I think only kids say this, right? And even kids nowadays are kind of a bit like politically correct. They don't really just say you're ugly. You are ugly. So if someone tells this to you, then just unfriend this person. You don't need that kind of negativity in your life. Pasensya na, nakalimutan ko. Sorry, I forgot. Pasensya na, nakalimutan ko. Which in English is, sorry, I forgot. This is very useful actually, but if it's directed to you, and for instance, the thing that was forgotten is very important, then you don't want to hear this. Say, your boyfriend to buy bread on his way home, right? And he forgot, so you don't have breakfast. So, can you eat, sorry, I forgot?
So you just break his face.
Want to speak real Filipino from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at filipinopod101.com.
The top 10 phrases you'll need for a date. Gusto mo bang kumain sa labas ng magkasama? Gusto mo bang kumain sa labas ng magkasama? Would you like to go out to dinner with me? The first phrase or sentence that you would need is, gusto mo bang kumain sa labas ng magkasama? In English, would you like to go out to dinner with me? Yeah, it's a bit too formal. But I think that's how it should be, right? Like, because dates are serious things. So first you have to introduce yourself. I would assume that this is already by the time that they are friends, right? Then you would say, oh, would you like to go out to dinner with me? Would you like to have drinks? Blah, blah. Snacks. Or if this girl's a tita, you would say, would you like to have tea with me? Libre ka ba sa katapusan ng linggo? Libre ka ba sa katapusan ng linggo? Are you free this weekend? Libre ka ba sa katapusan ng linggo? Are you free this weekend? Probably that's when his salary is going to come. That's why he's asking you this weekend. But I think it's a good time for everyone, weekends, right? Unless they work on the weekends, then it might be hard. Or you can say, are you free this evening, right? Then you would say, libre ka ba? Mamayang gabi, or bukas ng gabi. Mamayang gabi meaning later tonight, or bukas ng gabi meaning tomorrow night, right? So it's libre ka ba sa, and then your time, or the date when you want. You can be specific, say, on Friday the 13th, or something like that, right? November 1, right? December 25. So, are you free this weekend? Or are you free tomorrow? Or are you free this Saturday? Gusto mo bang lumabas ng magkasama? Gusto mo bang lumabas ng magkasama? Would you like to hang out with me? Gusto mo bang lumabas ng magkasama? Would you like to hang out with me? Probably this guy doesn't have money this time because he just like to hang out. Or no? I think because because it's not about dinner, right? Or it's just like hanging out. What do you mean? What do you really mean when you say hang out? I'm this like a question. I always think like, oh yeah, hang out. If you say you want to go out somewhere, it usually means the mall because the mall is place with air conditioner. Ang cute mo sobra. Ang cute mo sobra. You are so cute. Ang cute mo sobra, which means you are so cute. Ang cute mo sobra. When you're already together and you find each other too cute, right? And that's when you say, oh, you're so cute. I'm so gigil. Gigil is like this feeling that you feel that you cannot like contain because this person is so cute. I combine this word with kilig. Kilig is like this feeling. Now it's in the Oxford Dictionary, kilig, so you can search for it. Yes, yes. So it's part of now the Oxford Dictionary. So kilig is like this feeling. To describe it's like this feeling that you feel when you're in love, right? Anyway, so we have this word kilig and then gigil. And I usually combine kilig gigil. Which is like, you're so kilig, that's why you're so gigil. Do you understand? Yeah. So it's kilig gigil. That's a new word for you. Ang ganda mo. Ang ganda mo. You look great. Ang ganda mo. That sounded sarcastic. Again, ang ganda mo. Ang ganda mo. You look great. So, if you're really like going on a date with this person and you see this person like looking so pretty or so handsome, then you can say, ang ganda mo or ang guwapo mo, right? For males. Guwapo is handsome. Yeah, not necessarily males, a kind of like masculine figure. But that's still like dichotomy, right? It's hard. Philippine languages, there are words that are not gendered, but there are like adjectives that are very gendered. So you can just say in English, you look great. Mi amore. No, that's Italian. Tatawagan kita. Tatawagan kita. I'll call you. Tatawagan kita. Tatawagan kita. I'll call you. It's like a job.
Yeah.
I'm going to call you. I'm sorry. You didn't get the job. It can mean like, I'm going to call you when you get home. I'm going to call you before you sleep. I'm going to call you in the morning. So, kita is like a combined pronoun for me to you, something like that. So, it's almost literally like, I'm going to make a call from me to you, right? That's how it means. Ipag-drive na kita pauwi. Ipag-drive na kita pauwi. I will drive you home. Ipag-drive na kita pauwi. Ipag-drive na kita pauwi. I will drive you home. So this is if your boyfriend or girlfriend has a car to drive you home. Otherwise, you would have to walk home. No, you need a train. Get on the train, endure like a so long wait in the train, finally get home. I don't know, so hard. No, or you can take a cab. I mean, if you're an independent woman, do you need to be driven? No. Or your own bike. I have my own bike. Yeah. Anong oras tayo magkikita bukas? Anong oras tayo magkikita bukas? What time shall we meet tomorrow? Anong oras tayo magkikita bukas? Anong oras tayo magkikita bukas? What time shall we meet tomorrow? You already asked the person, do you want to hang out with me? The person said yes. Then now you would schedule the time. Because you have to be on time. Because you have to make good impressions, right? Because otherwise, sorry. So, how do you answer this? You can say, oh, let's meet at 9 a.m. If you're going for like to jog together, right? That's also a good like activity, like a couple activity, right? Or you can say, let's meet at 7 p.m. for dinner. So you would say, magkita tayo ng alas 7 ng gabi. Or in English, let's meet at 7 p.m. Pwede ba kitang makita muli? Pwede ba kitang makita muli? Can I see you again? Pwede ba kitang makita muli? Pwede ba kitang makita muli? Can I see you again? No. So, yeah, can I see you again? It's like you're asking for a second date, right? So after you get done the first date, then things are okay, you had a great evening, you can say, oh, can I see you again? Pwede ba kitang makita muli? What time shall we meet then tomorrow if you decide to have it tomorrow? Pwede ba tayong pumunta sa ibang lugar? Pwede ba tayong pumunta sa ibang lugar? Shall we go somewhere else? Pwede ba tayong pumunta sa ibang lugar? Pwede ba tayong pumunta sa ibang lugar? Shall we go somewhere else? So, what do you mean when you say go somewhere else? You have to be specific. Probably you're just like bored of the place where you're always going to. Or you want to go somewhere else, if you know what I mean. So it's up to you. You can use this. Go. Go ahead and multiply. Go. Malls in the Philippines are so fun. 10 phrases to amaze native speakers. Salamat pero sa totoo lang, hindi ako isang native speaker. Thank you, but I'm not a native speaker actually. Salamat pero sa totoo lang, hindi ako isang native speaker. Thank you, but I'm not a native speaker actually. If you start learning now, you'll be one of those few foreigners who can amaze Filipinos. Isang taon lang ang kinailangan ko para maging mahusay sa pagsasalita. It took me only 1 year to become fluent. Isang taon lang ang kinailangan ko para maging mahusay sa pagsasalita. It took me only 1 year to become fluent. So, I don't know how easy actually Filipino is for foreign people. I don't know if in 1 year you'll be able to speak it. Probably like the basics of it, right? Because Filipino, you don't really need to learn new alphabet. And also, some of the words are in Spanish. So if you kind of know Spanish, then you would most probably understand some of the words. But for you to be able to speak 1 year, I think is fine. But for you to be able to actually understand all the nuances in the language, then 1 year is probably a bit too short. Makakapagsalita ako ng Filipino gaya ng isang Pilipino sa loob ng 3 taon. I'll speak Filipino like a native speaker in 3 years. Makakapagsalita ako ng Filipino gaya ng isang Pilipino sa loob ng 3 taon. I'll speak Filipino like a native speaker in 3 years. That's actually a good target, right? But of course, there's still so many things that you won't be probably like inside jokes, right? Like, or especially since Filipino language is like any other language is continuously evolving, right? Because we have lots of slang now, right? Like slang that you get from American slang, and then also gay lingo, right? So all of those words, and then usually when you learn Filipino, you won't get to hear those slang or like street words. And most people actually use a bit of like casual. Even in, they only use really formal Filipino in say formal situations, formal settings. So this is a good target, but good luck. 10 taon na akong nag-aaral ng Filipino. I've been learning Filipino for 10 years. 10 taon na akong nag-aaral ng Filipino. I've been learning Filipino for 10 years. That's actually very good. I mean, for me, for us, like English, we take so many years and still there's some things that you cannot understand. So for instance, we learn English, like standard English, right? And then you talk to, say, an American or to a British person. And then there's so many words that you cannot understand. But you cannot understand them because these are like, but it's like the usage of the words is different from how you learned it from the dictionary. Sometimes when you speak to them, you sound so formal. 10 years is very good. Kaya kong manood ng mga pelikulang Filipino nang walang subtitle. I can watch Filipino movies without subtitles. Kaya kong manood ng mga pelikulang Filipino nang walang subtitle. I can watch Filipino movies without subtitles. We are releasing so many indie movies recently. Those are really good movies, so Please watch Filipino movies. And if you can see them without subtitles, very good. Kaya kong magkabisa ng higit kumulang mga 50 bagong salitang Filipino kada araw. I can memorize around 50 new Filipino words a day. Kaya kong magkabisa ng higit kumulang mga 50 bagong salitang Filipino kada araw. I can memorize around 50 new Filipino words a day. Oh, that's very impressive. I don't have memories. Masaya at madaling aralin ang Filipino. Filipino is fun and easy to learn. Masaya at madaling aralin ang Filipino. Filipino is fun and easy to learn. Yeah, which actually it is, right? I think it's easier compared to, say, Japanese or Chinese. Because as I've said, first, Filipino, you don't need to learn new alphabet, which immediately makes it easy, right? Because learning a new alphabet is very hard, right? I mean, if you say, for example, walk in the streets and then you can read the signs, that's already something. Because say you go to Japan, then you see all the signs and you cannot read kanji or hiragana or katakana, right? Then you cannot, it's like as if you're lost. But at least with Filipino, then you can immediately read the signs. And then the next thing is, you learn the words. Naintindihan ko ang lahat ng sinabi mo. I completely understood everything you said. Naintindihan ko ang lahat ng sinabi mo. I completely understood everything you said. Yeah, so when someone tells you this, then they're amazed. Yeah, so that's why they're just like, oh, great. So for example, someone tells you this very long explanation about something, then as a Filipino, you can simply say, gets ko. Because that's very Filipino actually, which means I got it. Marami akong alam na slang sa Filipino. I know a lot of slang words in Filipino. Marami akong alam na slang sa Filipino. I know a lot of slang words in Filipino. It depends also when you use the slang words, because not in all circumstances can you use slang words, right? Especially if you're just meeting someone for the first time, then you would want to be a bit more formal. Then becoming too formal is not natural. It can be seen as sarcastic even. Actually, I think the key to being thought of as fluent is like getting this balance of being like casual, natural, and also a bit like more formal, right? I think so. Nakakabasa na ako ng nobela sa Filipino. I can now read a novel in Filipino. Nakakabasa na ako ng nobela sa Filipino. I can now read a novel in Filipino, which is very good. If you read actual like old Filipino novels, it's very, what do you call this, like flowery. It's like it really evokes emotions when you read Filipino novels. It's actually hard to write in really, say, old poetic Filipino now.
If you want to learn a language but don't have a lot of time to dedicate to the endeavor, you need to study as efficiently as possible. You probably aren't a language learning expert or a world traveler. You might have school or a job or two. So in this video, we'll give you 3 ways to help you learn language more efficiently so that you get the most out of your time and effort. Number 1, use your time when you have it. The most valuable resource you have as a language learner is time. While you may not have to spend money to learn a language, you will have to spend time. Hours and minutes are a currency that you trade on a weekly basis to grow in your language learning. Language learning is probably a priority for you. It might not be the number 1 priority, like keeping your job or taking care of your family, but it does have to be important enough for you to invest significant amounts of time into your learning. There's just no way around it. That being said, use your time wisely. Because of previous commitments, you can quickly fall into the trap of putting your language learning off, thinking, oh, I'll do it next week, or Saturday, I'll do it Saturday. Needless to say, a few weeks can go by and you haven't really learned or practiced anything. If you find that happening, then take some time and reevaluate your approach. It's probably a long shot for you to be able to spend hours every day learning a new foreign language, but you can use your time to spend an hour or even just 10 minutes a day, every day, studying or practicing. If you're on a busy schedule, an hour a day can sound like reaching for the stars, so start slowly with just a 5-minute lesson. Over time, as you learn more and it becomes more routine, you'll want to spend more time studying. And your studying doesn't even need to be all at once. Make use of the little gaps of time you have in the day. Listen to a podcast while driving to and from work. Review new words while on lunch break or right before bed. Even a quick review while in line at the store or waiting for the bus. Together, these moments add up. This way, your little study session will add up to around 60 minutes of practice every day. You'll quickly be able to see significant improvement in your language abilities. Number 2, don't method jump. When you're new to language learning, there's a temptation to try out the newest course, app, or method. There are more language learning tools and courses than I can list. But jumping around from podcast to podcast or from textbook to textbook can really hinder your learning process. It's important to find the best method for you, but when you do, stick with it. Don't get distracted by the newest app, or if you suddenly find something faster, cheaper, claiming it can teach you a language with no work on your part. Stick with your learning course or tool. Consistent practice over a period of time is what is essential for language learning. If you hit a bump or plateau, you might be tempted to think, maybe there's a faster or better way to learn. So you search around and buy the next best language learning tool, only to use it for a couple weeks and realize it wasn't really any better than the last course you tried, and the same difficulties you had are still there. If you're learning your first new language and you pick a specific method or course, we suggest you stick with it for at least 3 to 4 months. You actually hurt yourself in the long run if you constantly switch between resources because you never give yourself the opportunity to progress. Number 3, focus on one thing at a time. When you decide to learn a new language, you're going to be really excited. You have all your resources lined up, a plan in place, and you're ready to go. You think you'll spend 3 to 4 hours a day practicing and that you'll be fluent in no time, but that's only for about 3 days. Then you probably will get a little bit discouraged and avoid it for another 3 days. And this process might repeat 3 or 4 times before you realize that you might be approaching things the wrong way. You can't devour a whole new language in a very short time. You'll burn out immediately. It's better to focus on one small part of the language at a time, either a specific grammar point or a specific vocabulary topic. In the beginning, these should be based on the parts of the language you'll use right away. Even in the business world, research shows that replacing less important tasks with ones that add value and help you reach your goals is the best way to get the most out of your time. As you advance through the language and your level increases, try to pinpoint the harder aspects of the language and work on them one at a time. Learning a foreign language isn't easy. It takes time and work, but it is possible. If you stick to your learning plans and stay focused, you will see improvement in your skills and find satisfaction in using the language. Remember that learning a language is really more like a journey. It doesn't have to feel like school or work. Savor your experience with learning and enjoy every step along the way. And for even more tips on learning efficiently, check out our complete language learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Get tons of resources to have you speaking in your target language. And if you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye! Great work! Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.